What is going on, everybody? Welcome in. It is a Friday night.
Sid is calling.
June 7th.
Sid is asking for something. Are you not?
No. I'm acknowledging the new head of the table. That's what I'm doing.
Oh, okay. I'll do it too.
The new tribal chief. I'm
glad we started. I'm glad we started, people, because you just heard I was just being harangued by Rick Ucchino and Sid partially, not a lot, but Rick Ucchino
you were
was
being
just
what? What are
harangued, orangutanged. That's what I was being. See? But I'm glad that's over now. Is it over?
I've said what I needed to say. I'm good there.
I don't know, but my arm hurts from that bus I just got thrown under.
Oh, we are off to a glorious start here. Welcome in, everybody. Let me get the spiel out of the way for those people who are new to the show. Rick Ucchino, Dutch Mantell, SP3. We are here every Friday. It is June 7th. We're here to recap tonight's episode of Friday Night SmackDown and any other crazy stuff that Dutch wants to throw out there at any point in time throughout the show.
My stuff is crazy stuff. Thank you. See,
well,
folks,
I'm just saying,
this is the restrictions
field with these things, Dutch.
This is the restrictions I work under here, people, because Rick is always, I won't go into it. Don't get me started.
If you guys want to get in on the conversation, if you want to ask Dutch something out of left field,
ask me something.
You can ask whatever you want.
But
you can ask Dutch whatever you want, whether it's about the product today, the product in the past. You want to hear a story from Dutch. We always love story time with Dutch. Hit us up in the comment section. Hit us up in the chat here and ask throughout the show. Super chats are always great. That's the best way to get guaranteed. If you send us a super chat, guaranteed you're going to get your comment read before we are off the air tonight. We got a lot to talk about from tonight's show. We got another title match set for Clash at the Castle. We got an extended promo from Piper Niven tonight, which I thought was pretty good. Actually, we got two title matches added. I forgot. We got a women's tag team title match added as well. Jade Cargill continues to impress in the ring. Lots to talk about. A fun main event that ended with our new tribal chief standing tall with his right-hand man in the infamous Tongaloa. SP3, what'd you think of the show overall tonight, start to finish here?
This was actually probably my favorite episode of SmackDown in a while. I thought it was a more complete episode that had a main focus of the bloodline, the new bloodline, and reestablishing them in a big way, with them bookmarking the show, focus on building Clash at the Castle. This was probably the most enjoyable SmackDown since like after Backlash, maybe. Yeah. I really enjoyed this one.
That's fair. Now, granted, I still have not had a chance to check out last week's. I was out last week dealing with some stuff. Did not get a chance to watch last week's episode. Saw bits and pieces here there. Obviously saw the AJ Styles retirement segment. That's the only thing I watched live last week, so I'm caught up there. But Dutch, what did you think overall? Do you share the sentiments that Sid said about tonight's show?
100%. This was a good show. This is the show that WWE used to do years ago with those little inserts, maybe under a minute, that continued their story through the show. I really liked this show. They had some good matches, and there was no bullshit on the show. And what are you laughing about, Rick? Rick's laughing, see? Everything I say, Rick kind of chuckles about it.
You said something funny. The way you emphasized bullshit was funny. That was it. That's all.
I didn't say bullshit. I didn't say.
Yes, you did.
Well, I've taken it out. No, but it was a good show. Sid is right. It was one of my favorite shows, and Piper Niven is fastly becoming my favorite female wrestler. Her and Chelsea Green that's text. It's easy to work with them. Chelsea Green, when she did this, like cut your throat, I busted out laughing. Yeah. And I very seldom do that, but I met her in TNA. She's got a lot of talent. And even away from the ring, she got more talent away from the ring, I think, than in it. So it was a very good show.
Yeah, I was going to say, Chelsea and Piper, they're kind of a female wrestling version of Abbott and Costello. You know, you got the funny guy, you got the straight guy.
But but better.
But
They're
but
better
better.
than
Like
Abbott and
it just works. Like Piper's sitting there, we'll talk about it more in depth, but she's sitting there, she's running down all this stuff that she's accomplished in her life. She's putting Bailey in her place. She's like, you're talking about, the Mae Young Classic was 2017. I've been doing this since 2018. And the whole time Chelsea's just back there doing her, this, that, and the other thing and getting all up in her face. Like, yeah, what she said. It was, that was definitely one of the highlights of the show tonight for me, which I did enjoy from top to bottom. So let's start with the opening of the program here tonight, guys. Don't forget, guys, get your comments in, get your super chats in. We'll make sure to read as many of them as we can throughout the entirety of the show.
Hold on, Rick. Before we get into the show, we got to do our due diligence because Dutch Mantell, we got to talk about, old wrestlers' sex lives. Because there was a video this week. Renee Dupree interviewed Missy Hyatt, who is always telling the truth. Remember, Missy Hyatt always tells the truth. She's the first lady of wrestling, because she came before Miss Elizabeth. But yeah, she had an interview this week, and she talked about her sex life with Jim Ross and how they rocked each other's world. And the people at Sportskeeda really want us to talk about it. But more importantly, they want to hear Dutch Mantell's live reaction. So, Dutch, your thoughts?
No, okay, Sid. Let's back a minute. It wasn't about her sex life. That's what you interpreted from what she said. She never used sex in there one time. She said, did she or not?
Yeah.
She said after the death of Jim Ross's wife, like 2 years later, she started dating Jim Ross for 2 years.
It's fascinating.
And she
stuff.
says, I rocked his world, and he rocked mine. So if I was Jim Ross, I would say, I would go find me a 10-story building, go up to the top, and would I jump off? No, I would just say, why in the hell would she let that out there? Now, everywhere he goes, people are going to say, hey, tell us about Missy, tell us about Missy. And I don't know, I don't think he's very happy about it, but that's what I got to say about it. So, but you guys just want to talk about wrestling all the time. Yes or no?
No, I like talking about news. I remember last week we talked about Vince McMahon's getting his lawsuit paused. We talk about news here, but apparently the people that we work for, thought that this was news. So I had to ask you about it. I wanted to do my due diligence because I know that it might have made Rick Ucchino, a little uncomfortable. So I wanted to do my due diligence. And I'm sorry for anyone watching who didn't want to hear about that, but apparently
for the record, that left field stuff was me trying to set up Dutch to go into it, and he just completely whiffed. All right, so just throwing that out there. I tried.
All right, Mr. Rougeau, I tried.
I didn't try.
Don't look surprised, Sid.
I didn't try.
Oh,
well, you did try, but
I did.
It was in reverse.
I don't care, but I tried.
That was news.
It was news. Apparently, it's news that they wanted us to bring up today.
It was news.
All right, can we go to SmackDown now? Am I allowed to? Anything else on the docket? I think any old business we got to get to? How about new business? Can we talk about?
I think they got to get to the 10-minute mark with this. Dutch. So if you were
I'm not doing it.
I have a follow-up question.
No, I'm not
I have
doing
a follow-up question. I'm sorry. I have a follow-up question.
Yeah. No, it's not news, according to you. It's not news, but it was news to me. I never had heard it before in my life. Therefore, it's new to me. And if me and you both read it, it's news because it's plural. So, and I never would have known that had not Missy done the interview and talked about her and Jim Ross dating.
Dutch, if you were in Jim Ross's position and Missy Hyatt propositioned you, would you say yes?
That's a personal question.
Yeah.
Totally out of range. It really is. Would you? I'm asking you now.
I'm not a legendary wrestler.
Then why are you asking me?
Because
why don't we get Jim Ross on this show and ask him how it was? Could you imagine?
I got a million questions I would ask Jim Ross. That would probably be about question 3,000,001. We got John Castro in the chat. We got John Castro in the chat. We got John Castro in the chat asking, is MJF really getting $15 million a year, or is that fake news? I saw that getting tossed out there on social media. I don't know where that report originated from, but I have a hard time believing he's getting that much a year. That would probably make him the highest paid person in all of professional wrestling, and probably by a good penny as far as yearly salary is concerned. So I highly doubt that number. No idea where that came from. Any other questions, comments? Make sure to get them into the chat, and we'll get to as many of them as we can throughout the show today. All right, we're at the 11:22 mark. Let's get into SmackDown, shall we? We open up. Well, first off, we get a recap. We get a recap of the Styles phony retirement last week, and Cody Rhodes is out by the loading dock afterwards, and he looks pissed off. He is snarling. He is panting back and forth and pacing.
What is the deal with Cody and the nose sniffing? Is he doing coke back there or what?
That's how he lets you know he's pissed. That's just how we do. Okay. How else are we gonna know if Cody's pissed unless he's snarling?
Maybe he can throw some stuff around like everybody else does.
We get Solo Sikoa, Tonga Loa, Tama Tonga, and Paul Heyman opening up the show afterwards. And we get Heyman on the mic saying that until Roman Reigns returns, Solo Sikoa is the one who is sitting at the head of the table. This prompts a huge "We Want Roman" chants from the crowd there in Louisville, Kentucky tonight. Tama Tonga gets anointed as the new right-hand man. And then Tonga Loa is labeled now the infamous Tonga Loa, a full-fledged member of the Bloodline now, according to Paul Heyman. And at this point, he wants to call it a night. He says he's done. Ladies and gentlemen, we bid you adieu. Let's move on with the rest of the show. Solo stops him and says, don't you think you owe my boys here a thank you for them saving you from Kevin Owens last week?
Damn right.
In which Heyman with some cowardice in his voice does in fact thank them for their service. And then Kevin Owens' music hits. He comes down to the ring. There's a 3-on-1. The Street Profits show up, and they even the odds before KO clears the ring with a chair. Obviously, a lot about this new Bloodline. They were the central figures, the theme throughout the show tonight. Dutch, what did you think of the opening and now the new Bloodline 2.0 here, finally being fully anointed with Solo getting his own right-hand man, and now Tonga Loa, the infamous Tonga Loa, now a full-fledged member of the Bloodline.
The key to this is Paul Heyman. You take your cue off him, what he says, and he needs to be really recognized for really pushing this narrative along, because he's so scared and so laid back, and you can almost see what's coming. They're going to start in on Paul Heyman one day, and then I don't know if Roman would make the save or show up to defend him, but they're laying this out well. And by the fans saying, we want Roman, he didn't do anything. He's just a favorite right now. He hadn't done anything. But they like Roman because he hung in there 3.5 years and held the title. So he has respect from the fans. And I think when they do this angle for, I don't know, SummerSlam maybe, or would they take it to WrestleMania?
I think that he's coming back after SummerSlam now, because the show that he was advertised for, the SmackDown before SummerSlam, he's been pulled from. He's not advertised for it anymore. Mm-hmm. So I think that's the wise decision, though, because they need more. I think they need more time to establish this Bloodline for now.
It's a massive angle. They worked it right. They didn't get ahead of themselves, and they took I've said this a million times. Tell the story, and sometimes you may tell it too long, but at least you know the story is in place. You tell the story, and then when they come back, shoot the angle, they know it's going to work.
So we go to commercial break after all the hullabaloo breaks out in the ring there. We come back. Solo Sikoa chases down Paul Heyman backstage. He basically slaps him on the shoulder and says, "Where the hell are you going?
Yeah, where are you going?
I need you to go talk to Nick Aldis and make us a trios match for the main event tonight, or the main event is going to be back in the locker room, and it's going to be Paul Heyman versus, my two best buddies right now, my right-hand man and Tonga Loa," in which Paul Heyman was like, I'm going to go talk to Nick Aldis. All right, I'm going to go talk to Nick. I'll get this thing smoothed out. Everything's going to be great. He does that. We get our main event made tonight. The crowd was really into the main event tonight, Sid. Ended in a disqualification. I didn't hate that, right? Protect everybody involved here. Solo introduces a chair to the party after we got that great shot. They hid that really well with the camera angle there. Like, you would have to be kind of a trained eye to see that they were setting up for something to come over the top, and you just see Montez Ford like the sun coming up in the morning, just over the horizon of the pile of bodies as he lands his senton, and it looked like that hurt a lot. Really, a lot of really good camera angles on the show tonight, I thought. So they hit that spot. Solo grabs a chair. He hits Montez Ford right after that, and then they just systematically dismantle each and every one of their opponents. They hit Dawkins with the spike. After that, Solo hits the spear on Montez Ford, and then they do the Shield power bomb to Kevin Owens through the announcer's table. Your thoughts on the match itself, and what do you feel like they're trying to do here to establish the bloodline? Because they're obviously, they have now, it's almost like they have recast the bloodline, right? You got Solo in Roman's place. Now you got, the Tongas in the spots of the Usos. They're doing the Shield powerbomb. They're doing a lot of callbacks. Not a lot of originality here yet with the Bloodline 2.0. They're kind of just playing the hits at the moment. What do you make of where we're at with everything?
Well, this was the first instance of them playing the hits, if you will, with naming Tama Tonga the right-hand man, naming Tonga Loa the infamous, which for us New Japan fans, yes, he is very infamous. Not for all good reasons. But yes, I think that it was nice to give them little names, and it was WWE accepting the fact that MFT was not a good nickname.
So yeah, I was gonna say, where the heck? We're never. This is one of those things we are never gonna know what that stood for. Never.
We're never. They said, all right, we gave up on that. We didn't even figure out what that meant. So we're going with right hand man. But the main event was all about, making it into a fun little matchup that the crowd was into. And then the post match was all about reestablishing the dangerousness of this bloodline, the unhingedness of this bloodline. They are different from the bloodline of the past that were all about showing these acts of violence to keep a championship in the bloodline, whether it be the tag team titles, whether it be the WWF championship. They're just trying to beat the hell out of everyone in front of them. Anyone that disrespects them, they're going to make them pay. And they made Kevin Owens pay tonight. They made the Street Profits pay for sticking their nose in their business. I would say Solo Sikoa's spear was much better than Jey Uso's spear. Sorry, Jay, it was. And then the Shield powerbomb was a nice little touch at the end, putting Owens through the table. I really thought they would save this six-man tag for Clash at the Castle, but the finish here does set it up if they want to next week say, hey, we're going to add that to the pay-per-view, to the PLE, excuse me. Never want to get the wrong terminology. I learned from Bully. The PLE next Saturday, they could add that to the show as well, because the bloodline has become the main thing on SmackDown besides Cody Rhodes. It's Cody Rhodes and the bloodline. It's 1A, 1B right now. And I like the fact that this was the first time that this new solo-led bloodline headlined the show and closed it out.
Yeah, and look, they needed to stand strong tonight because they need to be presented as a threat. I think, we can all kind of look in our crystal ball here and say, okay, somewhere down the line, whether it's an attack on Paul Heyman that acts as the catalyst or not, somewhere down the line, it's going to be a true bloodline civil war, at least the next incarnation of it that we've seen, where again, potentially here we could see Solo and the Tongas against Roman and the Usos somewhere down the line if they want to mix Jay back into the fold. I feel like that's where we're headed. But they needed this. The bloodline needs to be looked at as a threat. And personally, look, you say Paul Heyman is the central figure in all of this, and he is doing his absolute best to put over the Tongans as like these stone cold killers that they don't want nothing to do with. Sooner or later, I'm gonna start seeing both of those guys do some real sinister shit, though. You gotta follow you gotta follow up on it. You can't just have Paul Heyman say this guy's dangerous. This guy's dangerous. I need to see it. So I'm hoping that comes sooner rather than later.
They turned into a more violent faction. They're much more violent than Roman, because that's the way that Solo fashions them. They got to be, and what Roman has done, and Solo, if you really think about it, is created a monster that's going to get big enough to come back and eat him.
Yeah.
So, and I think what we're going to see, I think we'll see, like you said, the Usos together with Roman, which has a happy ending to it. The family get back together, and they'll like that, fighting the other part of the family that nobody likes. So, and I think they will have a great match. They really will. Now, when is The Rock getting back?
WrestleMania,
probably next year.
Yeah.
Well,
and
he's going to be involved with Cody. Like, he's not even going to be involved with the bloodline stuff. It's going to be him and Cody. Jim wants to know, when's Jacob Fatu going to be introduced? SP3. Any guesses there?
I think Jacob Fatu, he needs to debut after Roman Reigns' return. It needs to be Roman comes back. Maybe he thinks he's still in control of the bloodline, and then they jump him, and then it's all about Roman reuniting with the Usos. And then when you do that 6-man, I think that the new bloodline needs to win that, and you have Jacob Fatu be the deciding factor and debut him then as the next little piece of this new bloodline that Solo is putting together. And then it would be interesting that, if this happens, months down the line, probably by like the end of the year, you can have Heyman in a point where right now, he's scared and he's kind of, fearful, and he's kind of like a petulant, and he's doing an amazing selling job of like the fear factor of this new bloodline. But eventually maybe he gets used to this new bloodline and he chooses to align with them over Roman and the Usos.
Well, Paul Heyman is a smart man. For him, it's all about self-preservation. It's all about longevity. So he will ultimately go wherever he feels like he has the best chance of keeping food on his own table for the long haul. I know there are people out there who kind of hope that, one day, somewhere soon, Heyman will find his way over and become, Braun Breaker's mouthpiece. I think a lot of people see, the similarities in that with Brock Lesnar and back in the day, but I don't know, the way they're presenting Braun right now on Raw, I think he's just fine where they're going right there. And I think Heyman is right in a prime spot where he needs to be right now. We're a ways away from that, if that, manager talent pairing ever comes to fruition. We did get Jade Cargill and Bianca Belair in action tonight. This was supposed to be a one-on-one matchup between Indy Hartwell and Jade Cargill, but we see a backstage segment with Nick Aldis earlier in the night where turns out that it was made into a tag team match. So we get the tag team match today, and before, like right as the bell rings, the focus is already off of the match, and we see the Unholy Union and Zoe Stark and Shayna Baszler show up on a show that they are not on brand for. And apparently, Isla and Alba, all they ever had to do to get on television on SmackDown was get drafted to Raw. I think they made as many I think they tied as many appearances they physically had on SmackDown tonight as a member of the Raw roster than they did as members of the SmackDown roster. I'm just throwing that out there. Regardless, Candice and Indy handle Bianca Belair pretty well throughout the commercial break. They got they're doing the heel work and Bianca's selling and this, that, and the other thing. The second that Jade Cargill gets tagged in this match, this bad boy was over. She runs roughshod over both ladies. Get that cool little sequence they got between Belair and Cargill where they do the pump kick German suplex combo move that puts Indy out of commission. And then it's an all-out brawl that ensues as both teams attack the tag team champions. But as they start to attack themselves, tag team champions come in and they stand tall at the end of this. I feel bad for Indy and Candice because they are total afterthoughts already on SmackDown at this point, especially in the women's tag team division. We did get a triple threat announced later for the tag team title. So I can't even tell you the last time that Indy, or excuse me, not Indy, but Isla and Alba had a tag team match on television. Yet they are going to be getting a tag team title shot at Clash at the Castle next Saturday. Probably because they're European and they're going to try to get as many European people on the show. That is probably the sole
lose.
To lose, yeah, to lose. If I had to guess, Shayna Baszler will eat the pin in this match, but that's just a guess. Mine.
I love their finish. The pile driver, and I've never seen that before. But
yeah, they got some innovative stuff.
They did it good, very, very good, and I was impressed by that. I don't know who gave that to them, if they give it to themselves. But whoever's idea that is, and I'm thinking it's Cargill and Bianca coming up with it themselves. But it was a great double move and laid the girl out. So
yeah,
and I've never seen it before. Have you guys seen it before or no?
Just from them. Just from them, really. It's like a DDT, and then she propels with her legs to Cargill doing a wheelbarrow German suplex. And you can see Jade and Bianca gelling each and every week, each and every matchup that they have. They're getting better as a team, as a unit here. The post-match, it was just about kind of doing the triple threat feud the way Triple H does all his triple threat feuds. Thankfully, this didn't end in a DQ because that's what happens over on Raw all the time with all his triple threat feuds. At least it was just them showing up, even though I think that WWE needs to be a little bit more selective on what Raw stars are showing up on SmackDown. Like, I'll accept one or two. I'll accept the women's tag team champions going from their show to show, but you can't make a big deal about Zoe and Shayna inviting the WWE women's tag team champions over to Raw, then have them just show up without any invite and just show up on SmackDown. It was kind of weird with how they did that. But
yeah, so the rule is, sorry to cut you off, but the rule is that the tag champs can go to whatever brand it is. There's, as far as I know, there's no official rule that says that the challengers can go to whatever brand, and they weren't even officially challengers until they showed up tonight. So, like, if they show up in the front row and they have tickets, okay, great. They bought their way into the arena. Just give me something simple like that. But them just showing up at the beginning like they're allowed to be there when they're not contracted to be on that. Like, where the hell's all the security? Were they backstage waiting for Cody already? Like, what the hell we got going on here?
And they were tied up with Cody snorting. That's what they were doing.
That is true. But why is Nick Aldis making this women's tag team title match with two Raw teams? Wouldn't it have made more sense that Adam Pearce makes the match? Like because Jade and Bianca can show up on any brand, it should have been Adam Pearce who made that match after Raw this week when they had the DQ finish for the women's tag team title match. But to each his own. I'm not going to nitpick them to death on this. I like Jaden, Bianca as a duo. I like this matchup coming up at Clash at the Castle, getting Isla and Alba on the show. But it seems like they got a lot of Scottish people about to lose on next Saturday.
Yeah, somebody should win, right? Like,
I hope Drew wins. Hopefully Drew at least wins.
Well, Drew should win. I would think. Piper Niven probably won't. But
I don't think he is. I'm
hoping Drew wins because I'm sorry, Damien Priest. This world heavyweight title run hasn't been that great. It really feels like Raw is missing a top star, and he's the world heavyweight champion right now. It doesn't. It's not
like 8 top stars right now. Like,
They are missing quite a few, but like this week, when you don't have Gunther on the show, you have Drew on the show for a total of 3 minutes. It's like, where are the top stars on this damn show? You don't have Becky, you don't have Rhea, you don't have Seth, you don't have CM Punk. You give Gunther the night off, you give Drew 3 minutes, and Damien Priest is on throughout the show, and it just feels like he's a mid-card champion. Sorry, and that's my New York brethren. I apologize, Damien, but the truth is the truth.
I don't necessarily agree with that assessment. I like the work that Damien has been doing. I think he needs a big win. I think he needs.
The dude had a 13-minute match with Rey Mysterio, a guy that is 3 feet shorter than him, and he couldn't even beat him clean. Like they're not doing their due diligence to make him feel like the top star. That's what I'm really trying to say. It's no fault of Damien Priest. It's all the fault of the booking.
Damien Priest, his whole deal is inside the group. That's what he's doing. So let's see where they go with it. That's the beauty of wrestling. See, we can all sit here and say this and this and this and this. Fans do the same thing. So, and when they finally decide on something, I'm pretty sure that whatever Triple H, he's had tremendous success up to this point. I think whatever he decides to do will be a good angle with legs. So we'll see where he goes.
We had
Triple H, if you're watching the show, that was for you, buddy. These other two knock you to high heaven, but I don't.
Hey, I am not knocking Damien Priest. I'm knocking the booking of Damien Priest.
I don't see a problem with it. I really don't. Because they got 51 more weeks this year to fix it.
And this is why people watch this show, because I'm not going to always agree with Dutch Mantell. I said this last week. This is the beauty of this show.
We were supposed
Nor
to
do
get.
I expect you to.
On tonight's show, we were supposed to get Apollo Crews versus Angel Garza. That did not happen. Apollo Crews.
Thank God. Thank God. Thank you. Thank you.
I agree.
I'm applauding for Triple H. Triple H, thank you, because that would have been a match that did not feel important. Would have felt like filler, just like Andrade versus Apollo last week. So I appreciate you scrapping that match completely.
I agree with that.
I feel bad for Apollo. I just feel like it's never going to happen for him. I just feel like
another good thing they didn't have is Karrion Kross. They didn't have him either. So that's another check mark doing right. Why do y'all hate Karrion Kross so much? Is he even still there?
Just said that. He's not even on this brand. He's catching strays.
Yeah, but you had other people over from Raw.
It's true.
Hey, listen, I don't give a shit what they do on Raw. I'm a SmackDown guy, so I'm just going to talk about SmackDown. Now, people, we're not getting any comments here. Listen, if you're getting confused, join me, because these two guys confuse me all the time. That's why I sit here saying, what the F are they talking about? That's why I don't say nothing. Go ahead.
Sorry, guys. I'm having headphone issues here. I could barely hear anything you guys just said. Regardless, so
Sid was talking about you.
I'm sure he was.
I defended you the best I could.
I appreciate that, Dutch. You always got my back. I know that. Anywho, so we get Apollo Crews backstage. He gets jumped by Angel and Berto. Then they quickly just moved on. Even Nick Aldis was just like, yeah, just go to medical. Yeah, see you, bye. And then LA Knight shows up and he gets a big pop. He's talking with Nick Aldis, asking where the hell Logan Paul is. And he tells him where Logan Paul is, and he's like, you're kidding me. He's not here because he's gonna go play Tetris. You know, I love Tetris. You know, I'm really good at Tetris. You know, if I mash the buttons enough, I can maneuver these pieces in any way, shape, or form. I could take my foot and shove it straight up his ass. And then we get Carmelo Hayes, who shows up. He starts talking trash, talking about how he's been cooking LA Knight the last few weeks. And then LA Knight's like, hey, you know what? You want to cook? Let's go. And we'll have a match later on. And they set that up. I love LA Knight. I thought this was just a great interaction with him backstage with Nick Aldis. What did you think, SP3?
LA Knight, usual greatness. And I love Carmelo Hayes being a heel, lying to us, saying that he's been cooking LA Knight all these weeks when me and Dutch had a field day with that segment last week where LA Knight had no chill and pointed out that Carmelo botched his promo. So I love him following up the next week saying, I've been cooking you for weeks. Like, that's a lie. He cooked.
Okay, I missed it. What happened? Like,
so Carmelo came up to LA Knight and was like, "Oh, you're trying to get a match with LA Knight," and LA Knight was like, "If I wanted a match with myself, I'd look in the mirror." He had no chill. He could have let it go. No one would have noticed. No one would have noticed. And he had no chill. He just pointed out that he botched the promo, and then when he walked away, he said, "Trash."
Oh, welcome to the big leagues, Rook. Oh, damn. Oh, just keep bringing the heat, meat. All right, we got Ozzy with a super chat here saying, Dutch, male model president, we the people. You miss maximum male models. Be honest there, Dutch. You miss them on the show every Friday night.
No, but did I call it right or not? I said dead on arrival. Were they dead? They're both gone now, right? Except for LA Knight, right?
Yeah, Mason Mansour on the independent circuit, but they're doing pretty well for themselves right now.
Well, I hope they do really good. But their little run on SmackDown left a lot to be desired, like everything.
That
was a great call, Mr. Nostradamus.
I gotta hand it to Dutch because he said Baron Corbin needed a push out of an airplane, and we've kind of seen his descent ever since. Karrion Kross, they got him the hell up out of here. So Dutch is good on these calls.
Have we seen Baron Corbin since King of the Ring? Like, have we seen him?
Nope.
I hadn't even heard his name really.
Okay.
Say it again, Rick, so I can make that. Say Baron Corbin again. Say it. See, you're not going to say it.
Sorry, I'm having headphone issues. I apologize. I'm not ignoring you.
That's the first I've heard of him.
I have a connection piece here that is not holding together, and it's cutting out my audio. Anywho,
trust me, I've been there myself, and also I've been where Dutch is at, where he looks like he's filming from outer space at some points. He is a little blurry. It looks like his neighbor is moving away and pulling away the Wi-Fi as we speak.
Yeah, that bastard did move. So I made friends with my next door neighbor now.
Oh, there you go.
He don't know what's going on, but he will.
We get Johnny Gargano versus Grayson Waller on the show. Last week it was Theory and Ciampa, where Ciampa got a win. So Johnny's looking to make it 2 in a row over the tag team champs. And commentary putting over on just ad nauseum tonight that if Gargano gets a win tonight, then they should get a shot at the tag team titles because, hey, nothing says we deserve a shot at the tag team titles like singles victories. But here we go. It is Johnny Gargano against Grayson Waller. There was one spot here, could have been an absolutely catastrophic sliced bread from Johnny Gargano, and this man just adjusted his body mid-air to land on his shoulder instead of his dome piece. Like, that man's an athlete for sure. He saved his own ass and then went off and did something that I don't think I've seen before, a top rope tornado destroyer. But Johnny Gargano, that was some cool ass shit. But Grayson Waller gets the upper hand by using Theory as a shield on a tope suicida. He then throws Johnny into the ring post and does his jumping flip unprettier for the 3 count. And Theory looks pissed off as Waller is just celebrating the victory and not paying a single solitary bit of attention to his tag team partner that he threw under the very bus that Dutch tossed SP3 under at the opening of the show tonight. So both of y'all, you and your boy Theory, are hurting here a little bit. SP3, man, I get the feeling that these two tag teams are fighting over the tag team titles. I don't think either one of these teams has very much longevity as actual tag team partners because Tommaso Ciampa did not exactly look thrilled that Gargano lost this match tonight here, SP3.
I'll be honest. Tommaso Ciampa didn't look happy the minute he came out in a SmackDown shirt. Not even a DIY shirt. He came out in a SmackDown shirt. Johnny's all being babyface over here, and Ciampa's like got the mean mug on. Where I knew that Johnny was gonna lose this matchup by Ciampa's kind of reaction when they came out. He had the boo boo face, and he's not even wrestling the matchup. It was very weird. It was weird throughout that whole thing. And
what kind of face did he have?
The boo boo face. He had the boo-boo face, and we are 2 months. We are 2 months into them separating these tag team titles, and this is something else Dutch was right about. This was a bad move. They don't have enough tag teams to have 2 tag team titles. Like, this is why we are having these. You got Awesome Truth over on Raw, where I need to be reminded each and every week they still have the tag team titles, and I'm always, when I see them with the tag team titles, I'm like, why? And then you have a team that is over as a heel duo in A-Town Down Under, and they're already teasing a split. We talked about this last week with Dutch when they did the first finish that looked like they were teasing the split. It's like, why are you doing this? This is good for both guys. You do not need to tease this split already. But I appreciate Grayson Waller switching up his finish, because the jumping unprettier is much better than run out the ring, run back into the ring, stunner. It's much better.
This show is so much better than it was a year ago. So much better. And it just goes to show you what a good booker with foresight, with vision, and he can do. I don't think he gets really excited over anything. And they'll go back when they start back Tuesday, I guess, doing these shows. They got all this stuff to work with. They don't got to build nothing. It's already there. Of course, they're working to Clash in a Castle now. But when you got those different options to work with, it's not hard to book it. And they just take their time. And I've always said that. Because now we know that Waller and Theory possibly are headed for a breakup. You know who I think's headed for a breakup later on, maybe 8-9 months from now, is Jade Cargill and Bianca. It screams that to me when they go out. So I'm saying, who are they going to make the heel here? I think they'll make Jade the heel, don't you think? If they do that? Or no? Oh, now this is a question. I've stumped them. Now they got to think about it a little bit.
No. I mean, I think that Jade is the more natural heel in this situation, but I think that Bianca needs to be heel more.
Here's the thing: you go by the way that, and again, it was one match. But if you go back to that match tonight, like, Bianca was booked as the weak link of the team. This is the woman who has been billed as the strongest, the fastest, the roughest, the toughest, the quickest, all that she's been saying for years. Like, there's nobody on this roster who has been able to match her pound for pound strength in a ring, except for maybe Rhea Ripley. And now all of a sudden Jade Cargill comes in, and Jade Cargill is being booked with these two as a team as the unstoppable force and the unstoppable monster. And Bianca Belair is the one who's taking heel work, taking heat in the middle of the ring, having to sell, having to get her ass kicked for the majority of this match. And then Jade just comes in and sweeps things up. And it's like, okay, here we go.
Okay.
Mama took care of business again tonight. Like, if they keep booking matches like that, oh, it's going to be Bianca who's the heel for sure, because she's going to want to prove to Jade, like, no. Like, I've been going here longer. Like, this is I'm the EST. It ain't you. That's how I see it going. Again, based off of one match.
I don't agree, but I think they can go either way with it, really. According to what happens in their last bout or leading up to their last match.
See how the crowd reacts.
Again, that's why we watch it. Yeah. If they do it right, and that's saying a lot, if they do it right. I think there's money with those two.
I'll make a prediction, though. If this is leading to Austin Theory turning babyface again, it's DOA. It's DOA. It's dead on arrival. It's DOA. It is maximum male models. Do not start an Austin Theory babyface and expect the fans that they're gonna just go along with this.
God, could they do?
Nobody cares.
Could they put Gargano and Theory back together as baby faces? Like they had him in NXT, except without the meathead gimmick?
That feels like regression. It feels like a little bit of a regression there.
And suppression. They're suppressing one of them. So,
yeah.
But I mean, they've been teasing a Ciampa heel turn since before the draft when they lost the tag team title match to Awesome Truth. He didn't shake hands. He was pissed. Like, I think that's what we saw out of him tonight, the boo-boo face, the wearing the SmackDown shirt. I think that was more of a continuation of what we saw ahead of the draft. But that's just me reading into that. We get Nick Aldis backstage. He brings a whole bunch of security. Shout out to my boy Jake Oman, who was a cameo playing a security guard tonight. Called a few of his matches back in the day, which was like 2 years ago. Anyway, so Nick Aldis brings all the security out because he says AJ Styles is arriving imminently. We go to commercial break. We come back. Styles arrives in a big truck. He's got the OC with him as muscle. And security gets between those boys and Cody Rhodes. Cody Rhodes flares them nostrils, turns around, and he just trucks it back to the ring. The camera follows him the whole way there. I love these shots of them, following the stars out through Gorilla, out to the ring. All business tonight for Cody. No pyro, no music, no whoa, no nothing. He gets on the mic and he says, AJ Styles, get your ass out here. He says he wants to fight right here and now. AJ does come out. He's got the music. He's in a jovial mood because he knows he's got Cody right where he wants him. He says, hey, look, you want to fight with me? Great. You want it so bad? We'll do it at Clash at the Castle and put the WWE Championship on the line. To which Cody says, 100%, you got it. But this is where he gets one over on him, Dutch. He says, I'm going to make you say what you should have said last week. I quit. And then he looks over at Nick Aldis, and Nick Aldis holds up the arm and points sky high. And I love that little smile he gave AJ Styles too, because there were multiple times tonight ahead of this segment where Nick Aldis said, I get where you're coming from. He played me too. And that is motive enough for Nick Aldis to go, yeah, sure. Screw you, AJ. You're in an I Quit match with the WWE champion at Clash at the Castle. I think Nick Aldis is doing a hell of a job as the GM with his the booking that he does, obviously, yes, but the way that he plays the character, always remembering who has wronged him, playing the correct side of things, the subtleties with his smiles and his quirks and everything. I think he's doing a hell of a job. I liked this a lot. I liked Cody's promo. I like Styles baiting him, and I like Cody getting one over on him. What'd you think, Dutch?
I think tonight Cody Rhodes' interview was the best he's done that I remember. Because he didn't go out there and smile, and he was pissed off. He was mad, and he has reason to be. Get your ass out here right now, and here comes security, and here comes AJ with his entourage, and I do like when they were holding Cody back. AJ picked that spot to get that last shot on him when they were all holding him, and bam, and then he ran away. So it all plays down to they have a legitimate beef between them. And I think at Clash of the Castle, it's worth it to watch that show just to see that match and see what they're going to do.
Yeah, SP3 ahead of their ahead of the match in Lyon. I mean, it was a very, very quick build, but there really wasn't much there. It was an ice cold feud. Now we got something between these two. Now it's personal. Now there's some heat that they have built up, and in short order, AJ Styles manipulating his way into getting another WWE title shot. This matchup they're going to have next Saturday, there is all of the elements there to surpass what they did in France.
Yeah, 100% there. Like I said last week, this was the first angle that they did with AJ Styles and Cody Rhodes. And it was the first angle that AJ Styles actually got heat for. Like him attacking, LA Knight in Elimination Chamber, that was all fine and dandy. He got some boos there. But this felt like last week felt like an angle that was about establishing AJ Styles as a top heel on this show. And I thought that his swagger, his confidence this week, how he came out with the OC, that the OC is back intact with him, that he's got his muscle behind him, but he's still kind of cowardly staying behind the security until he has the perfect opportunity to hit Cody. I thought it was well done. I thought that AJ Styles showed off why he was a top heel just a couple of years back when he first got here to WWE. So it was really good stuff in this segment. My only nitpick is that the commentary team saying that they've never seen Cody this mad. It was literally 2 months ago. Cody got beat up in the rain, bloodied by The Rock, and got his mom insulted. So I've seen Cody just recently as upset as this. You could say this is one of the most times that Cody has been upset, but you can't tell me he is more upset about AJ faking a retirement than he was about The Rock insulting his mother and bloodying him in the ring. But I understand this
how quick you
hyperbole from the commentary.
I liked it, even though the Rock beat the crap out of him. He may be madder about AJ trying to steal the thunder than he was at The Rock. He may have known that The Rock was leaving, so no need to get too mad. But AJ's not leaving, so I can get really, really, over the top mad, so I can beat his ass at damn Clash at the Castle.
If I was Cody Rhodes, I would be more pissed. The person I would be the most pissed at is my damn self. Because everybody and their brother saw the Mark Henry angle coming last week, except for Cody Rhodes. So he should just feel pissed off that he even fell for that. To be completely honest with you.
I wish he would have. We know Cody for being self-aware. I wish he would have said that I should be more angry at myself for falling for that crap, but I'm going to beat you up for myself in this instant. I wish he would have said something like that, but with the stipulation being an I Quit match, with the angle that they did last week and the follow-up this week, and that crowd in Scotland, this has the opportunity to be as good or even better than the Instant Classic that they had in front of that wild crowd in Lyon.
So we get two Georgia boys for the second time. For the second time, it's overseas. I want this to be a massive rib because I want the third match between these two to be in Germany. So so we get two Georgia boys in France, two Georgia boys in Scotland, and two Georgia boys in Germany. Let's go. That's what I want to see.
That was good. That was good.
We get LA Knight and Carmelo Hayes. I thought this was a pretty fun matchup. Crowd was into it, obviously. LA Knight gets the win with the cradle, kind of to protect Carmelo there. It wasn't a decisive win in this one for LA Knight, but it was one that he needed as he continues to try and get the attention of Logan Paul and work his way up for that United States Championship. He said it to the camera because they couldn't get the commentary mic on for it. There was a technical error there, but said, look, if Logan Paul ain't going to show up to SmackDown, I'm going to bring SmackDown to Logan Paul. And then later on, we get a Logan Paul pre-recorded message to LA Knight basically saying that, so I can't find my notes on it, but he said that LA Knight's never won a championship. That's why he's in his turf at the World Tetris Championships. Didn't even know that was a thing. But he's going to win another title that LA Knight has nothing to do. Said, look, I only compete against the best, which is why you aren't even on my radar. Now, please go back to the mid-card.
Back to what card?
The
go back to what card?
Oh, okay. The mid-card. Even though he is holding the mid-card championship, Logan Paul, that is. Anyway.
That's what makes him a heel, folks. This was so good. I did not know we were going to get two separate promos from these two guys, and Logan Paul would have the better promo. Logan Paul had the better promo here. I thought Logan Paul was great in his cockiness. I really have been enjoying how they've been slow burning this with Logan Paul and LA Knight, and LA Knight coming every week looking for Logan Paul. I want LA Knight to show up on the Logan Paul podcast. show up on Impulsive and try to come at Logan Paul. I think they can really play with this, with the kind of the door that LA Knight opened, saying that he's going to bring SmackDown to Logan.
Which means we're probably going to see LA Knight get hauled off in handcuffs again for the second time this year, just in a different city. Dutch, what did you think the match with Carmelo Hayes tonight and the exchange with Logan Paul here in LA Knight? When do we think that match is going to happen? There was a report this week that it would possibly be a Clash at the Castle. I don't think they got time to set that up, especially since the next SmackDown just is in Glasgow. So, like, Logan Paul's not just going to go to Scotland, probably. If he ain't showing up in Louisville, he ain't showing up in Scotland. So it's Money in the Bank, but SummerSlam is in Cleveland. That makes a ton of sense to me. Logan Paul, LA Knight, and Cleveland. It gives them, 6-8 weeks to continue building up to this. What do you think there, Dutch?
Where do you think he's going to show up?
I think it makes sense unless LA Knight gets screwed out of it.
I'm sorry, time's up. Go ahead.
Unless LA Knight gets screwed out of it, they could do that match at Money in the Bank. Logan Paul can do some chicken shit stuff and hang on to the title, and then LA Knight can win it at SummerSlam. That's if they were going to do more than one match, but I still think SummerSlam makes the most sense.
Another guy that's growing on me is Carmelo Hayes. Because you notice him out there, cocky, and see, now they're beating him like every week now, but it doesn't matter because he's still getting over. Very few guys you can do that with. Sami Zayn you could do it with. Carmelo Hayes you can do it with. So he's very valuable to the SmackDown roster because you can beat this guy, he doesn't lose anything. He might actually gain some by losing if that's possible. But Carmelo, they put him on every week. He's getting airtime, and I like that guy. I really do.
No, I think he's got a really, really bright future. They're doing something because SP3, for obvious reasons, Carmelo Hayes and Braun Breaker, they're always going to be tethered to one another. You know, how their careers blossomed in NXT. They both came in roughly the same time. Completely different backgrounds, but these are two guys who are always going to be compared to one another. They're both getting built up now on the main roster in very different ways, and I do think both ways are working.
I do want to see Carmelo get some wins because I think that's when we can see kind of the upward trajectory for him. But Dutch is right. They're pitting him on TV every week, and slowly but surely he's going to get over with this crowd because he's so talented in the ring. He's got the right kind of charisma. He needs to work on his promos, as we saw last week with that botch. And when he's up against someone like LA Knight that is like top notch, top level on this show, we are going to see where he's at level wise with when he's going up against someone like LA Knight. But I thought the finish here keeps the door open for this rivalry to continue as LA Knight works his way to Logan Paul. So I liked it.
We get sorry if I mispronounced this. Eroy asking, did I miss Dutch's reaction to Nia's backstage segment? No, we're getting there. We are getting there. Not quite there yet. But Roland Curtis, our good buddy, chiming in with a super chat. Really appreciate that. Is WWE just recycling the trilogy storyline that Cody did with Rollins? It looks like Cody will win the rematch with AJ Styles at Clash at the Castle and win a Hell in a Cell trilogy match. I don't know. I was kind of jesting that there would be a third one. I don't know if there's going to be a third one or not. I would not be surprised if AJ Styles winds up in the Money in the Bank ladder match. I don't know who's Cody's opponent would be at Money in the Bank. A lot depends on how this Clash at the Castle match is booked. But it is an I Quit match, so there's going to be a definitive winner one way or the other, and it is going to be Cody Rhodes. But no, I don't get the. If they have three matches, it doesn't mean they're just replaying the storyline that they did with Seth Rollins. I mean, what do you think, SP3?
Yeah, I don't think they are really replaying the angle with Seth Rollins because I don't think Seth earned any of his rematches against Cody Rhodes in the same fact. Like, they had him screw him out the U.S. Championship to get one rematch. It was weird. Or he just asked for a rematch against him for Backlash and then cost him the U.S. title to set up the Hell in a Cell matchup. No, the fake retirement angle by AJ Styles is significantly more memorable a way that AJ got this rematch than any of the ways Seth did. So they're telling a different story here already with AJ and him, reuniting with Gallows and Anderson. Even if they do a third matchup, I think that the finish of an I Quit match can leave the door open for another matchup. We've seen it before with heels saying I quit for different reasons where they don't lose much because they are kind of just skating by, and it sets up a third matchup. I don't necessarily think that. I think if you wanted to do the I Quit matchup and you wanted to do 3 matches with that, then the I Quit match should probably be the third match. It shouldn't be the second match if you're going to do a third match. I am like Rick. I think the fact that they made this an I Quit match, I think the feud is going to end at Clash of the Castle, which I said last week to Dutch. I think that's a mistake because that angle was so memorable that I would want more from AJ and Cody. And especially after the dynamic on this show, I want to see more.
But you could get more.
They may not have a choice because if it ends next week, Dutch, who do they go to with Cody? You did Logan Paul. You done 2 matches with AJ Styles. Bobby Lashley is still hurt. Randy Orton, who knows when he comes back, right? Like he was a little banged up after King of the Ring, whether that's legitimate or story wise, but you would think maybe that would be the direction they go for SummerSlam. It's like, okay, who are they lining up other than Solo, possibly, but he's still mixing it up with KO.
I was saying this to Dutch. Like, you remember, how did KO get back involved with the Bloodline? He went into Cody Rhodes' locker room and disrespected the Bloodline.
Yeah.
That's how it all started. So eventually, I think after the Bloodline get rid of like the Street Profits or anyone like that, you can have the Bloodline jumping KO. Randy Orton comes out, but the numbers get the better of him. And then Cody comes out, and you could do a 6-man tag, but with those 3 guys versus the Bloodline at Money in the Bank. Maybe have the baby faces or the Bloodline win, and then post-match Orton RKO to Cody to set up SummerSlam.
Yeah. You can definitely still do that. Lynn saying LA Knight needs gold soon. I think he's going to get it in Cleveland. And Lynn saying RKO need the tag team belts. I would agree, but I don't know if it's going to happen. I like that team a lot. I think they really work, honestly. Ozzy asking, how about Becky's contract? Well, she doesn't have one right now. And just personally, I don't think she's going to have one for a while. I think she is taking some much deserved time off. Her next contract might be a movie role for all we know. We did get some backstage segments with the ladies tonight. This was very interesting to me, Dutch. We had Tiffany Stratton walk up to Nia Jax and basically throw out there like, hey, I want to be homies, basically. I want to be the princess of the ring to your queen of the ring. Just think about it. Just think about it. That's an interesting little tandem there. And then we get Mia Yim showing back up. And she basically pulls the Will Smith. Like, Nia makes some joke about how Mia needs to do what AJ was supposed to do last week and retire. And Mia's all like, keep AJ's name out your fucking mouth. And then she throws a drink in her face. And then Nia throws Mia. And then Nia goes to flip a table. And she slips on the drink. Oh, man. I felt for Nia right there. Like, what are you going to do in that situation? Like, you just roll with it. It was funny at that point. A lot happening here. I like this backstage segment. I like the idea of Tiffany trying to butter up to Nia and get involved with her because she knows how dominant Nia is. And maybe could help her own career out here. And then, hey, look, Mia's been killing it in NXT. Let's see more of her on SmackDown. I like this. What do you think, Dutch?
I like it because the backstage segment, it adds so much to that show, and they're not long. They just make a point and they get out of it. Nia Jax, when she got I didn't expect the drink in the face. We're conditioned that a punch or something got a drink in the face. Oh my God, I can't believe he did that. Over the top, security's in, pull them back. So it makes me want to see more between them. So again, I think every segment tonight worked. Every segment.
And the Tiffany Nia part is leading to what I want the most. We got Nia Jax getting her shot at Bayley for the WWE Women's Championship at SummerSlam. I think Miss Money in the Bank is going to be Tiffany Stratton. So Tiffany is trying to goad Naya into a false sense of security. She wants to be the princess to her queen of the ring. So when Naya is getting her opportunity at SummerSlam, Tiffany's going to come in and cash in Money in the Bank. I'm going to love all of this. I am down for this. And her slipping and falling was hilarious.
It was absolutely hilarious. It was genuinely funny. Even she would, like Roland saying in the chat, like even she was trying not to laugh at them because you have to. You have to. I mean, that's just, if shit's gonna go wrong, something like that is gonna go wrong. Like you just gotta laugh at that and move on. Look, I'm glad you thought of that SP3 because immediately, like my thought was, oh, they're gonna put the tag titles on Nia and Tiffany at some point. Like that's where my mind immediately went to. Yours is a heck of a lot better, to be completely honest. And then last thing we need to talk about on the show tonight, we get Bayley coming down to cut a promo, except she does not get any time to cut a promo whatsoever. She is like stumbling through her first sentence, like she was waiting to get cut off immediately. And then the music hits, and I loved this. Bayley like drops the mic and goes, "What the fuck?" Like just in the middle of the ring, just what the fuck? Well, I didn't even get a chance to talk. And Chelsea comes down, and she's doing her whole, I don't want to call it a clown routine, but she's saying, "You're a loser. You lost in Saudi Arabia," even though she didn't. You lost here. You lost last week. Your girl Naomi's a loser, and this, that, and the other thing. And she's really, really playing this up. But Piper, again, like I said earlier, Abbott and Costello, just straight faced all the way down. Bayley tells Chelsea to shut up. Bayley starts talking about how she first saw Piper at the Mae Young Classic. And, she respected everything. She knew how dangerous she was back then. And, she's ready to go against her at Clash at the Castle. And then we get Piper on the horn, and she's immediately like, 2017. What the hell are you talking about? I have been busting my ass since 2008 before you were put on a platform and started high-fiving and hugging people. I was out across going all over Europe, winning championships and changing the game and raising the bar. And then you got a bunch of what chants, and she's like, "Inbred said what?" And then the entire crowd chanted what again, because that's what you get in the city of Louisville, folks, regardless. And then they kept doing it. They just kept chanting what? The inbreds. Anyway, but Piper, she just stayed through it. She said, "Screw you people." She got her notes out there. I thought this was a really good promo from Piper, especially for somebody who doesn't get to talk a whole lot. I like this a lot. Dutch, you said Piper's quickly becoming one of your favorite people right now. This was a strong segment for her tonight, and she looks like a legitimate threat to Bayley at Clash at the Castle.
Well, I think she started at ground zero, because when I first saw her, I said, I don't know about this girl. But putting her with Chelsea Green added a lot to her, because Chelsea's the personality of that group. Now Piper showed us tonight she can talk a little bit too, and especially with the antics of Chelsea behind her, you'll watch them. And I'm still laughing about, yeah. That came out of nowhere. And very seldom do I laugh at interviews, but Chelsea, she's funny just talking to her. Mm-hmm. So I think we're going to see a lot out of Chelsea and Piper, and it's well deserved.
Yeah, I wouldn't be surprised if Chelsea ends up costing Piper the match at Clash at the Castle. But SP3, I think my favorite line was kind of like, is one that a lot of people will look over, but I liked Chelsea saying, "Piper's going to beat you, and then we're going to be, we will be the new WWE Women's Champion."
And even Piper just let it flow. She just let her say that. But the promo by Piper was more of Viper. That's the Viper that I discovered on the UK indie scene before she ever showed up in WWE. I knew of her as this like beast from the UK indie scene that went to Japan, that was tearing it up, that was one of the top women's wrestlers not signed to WWE. And I liked her pointing that out, talking about her history, talking about that she was a star before she even got here. She was a world champion before she even got here. That's how you build yourself up for the big title match. And I thought she did a really good job of overcoming the what chants, because a lot of people would get flustered by what chant. She just let it flow, said the little line, Embrace said what, and then she just forgot about them. It was like they weren't even there anymore. And it felt like an off night for Bayley. And I feel bad saying this because I'm a big fan of Bayley. I've been a big fan since she showed up for the past 10 years in WWE, but it just felt like an off night from her. And this felt like the third or fourth week that I was like, oh yeah, Bayley is women's champion. Feels like 3 or 4 weeks in a row that every time she shows up, I'm like, oh yeah, you are the champion here. Yeah, that's right.
Yeah. A lot of new champions coming out of WrestleMania. Didn't have a lot of people really built up. Like, hey, we're out of the gate. Like, we got new world champions across the board, and it's like, okay, who are your first challengers? And like the only one they really had one set up for was Rhea and Liv. And then that got blown up on the first damn night. First night.
Yeah.
Oy. We are getting some I swear to God, I had notes on this, but anyway, we got matches set up for next week. It's going to be, I know Chelsea and Naomi is one.
They set that up with a backstage segment. They also did announce Michin and Nia Jax, as well as the Grayson Waller effect with DIY.
All right. So there we go. I found my notes finally, now that I don't need them. Anyway, overall grades for the night, gentlemen, what do you think, SP3?
I gave it an 8 out of 10. 8 out of 10 show. This was really good. Really good stuff.
I think that might be the highest grade you've given a SmackDown since we started doing this show. Dutch?
I'll say a little higher, 8.5.
Wow.
I don't think they could have made it any better.
Wow.
I mean, I hate to be out here praising them when, our natural condition is saying, oh, that sucked and that sucked and that sucked. Nothing sucked on the show because it all made sense. It all was well presented. And I think they're finding their legs now. Creative is finding under Triple H, they're finding their groove. And once you get in it, it's easy to stay in it because you've laid all this background out and you got 1,000 different ways to go.
I was gonna go 7.5, and dang, I'm usually not the guy who's last on the panel. Sorry, go ahead, SP3.
And they cut the filler and the fluff from this episode of Mexicans fighting Mexicans, so I appreciate that. So that's why it gets an 8 out of 10.
Ozzy asking when is Charlotte Flair coming back? Genuinely don't know.
Here's another question: who really misses her?
Raw.
Charlotte Flair is now an afterthought almost. Now, when she comes back, she'll mean something. But
they need her on Raw now, right? Like right now.
Oh, that other show.
The other show.
We don't talk about.
We don't care.
Other show.
We don't care.
We don't give a shit about Raw.
They need her on Raw right now.
SmackDown,
by the way,
SmackDown's the show.
SP3. Am I the only one? Like, this is something I noticed last week. Bayley is the only member of the four horsewomen who is currently active in performing in WWE. Is that not weird? It's not just a little weird that only 1 out of 4 is currently with the company active performing right now. It just seems weird after they have dominated since they showed up in 2016. Just feels a little.
Yeah. And I'm still waiting for the week since Bayley's become champion where she feels like a focal point of the show. It's been 2 months. I know it's only been 2 months, but I really would love for one episode where she feels like the focal point and not like the 4th or 5th most important thing on the show. Even though, like I said, the second one was good, but I want more for Bayley.
I do. I agree with you wholeheartedly. All right, SP3, what you got going on True Heel Heat this weekend?
Check us out. We are doing a different day for the True Heel Heat Flagship podcast on Sunday, 11:05 a.m. Eastern time. We got a couple of videos that we re-uploading to the channel because I effed up this week. So you'll see some re-uploaded videos from Double or Nothing review, King of the Ring, King and Queen of the Ring review tomorrow. But Sunday, we'll be live 11:05 a.m. Eastern time with the True Heel Heat Flagship podcast talking about this week in wrestling.
Dutch, anything going on?
Yeah.
Cool.
Just watching SmackDown. Come on here and talking to you guys. If anybody wants to find me, Dirty Dutch Mantell with 2 L's at gmail.com. And you can follow me on my other podcasts on YouTube, Storytime with Dutch. You can catch me there. 118,000 subscribers now and growing. So I'm proud of that. So that's what I'm doing.
You guys just hit a big milestone this week, didn't you, SP3?
Yes, we had 15,000 subscribers over on the True Hill Heat YouTube channel. So thank you to everyone who is a subscriber over there. We appreciate the support. We also hit 1 million views on the channel as well. So very appreciative of all the support for the True Hill Heat YouTube channel. Appreciate y'all. I have a final question for Dutch, since it's all about WWE, TNA, NXTNA, as they say. Dutch, you were a part of creative of TNA for a very long time. So out of all your time, if you could have picked 3 people and WWE called you up, we want 3 people from TNA when you were in charge of creative, who would you have sent to WWE?
That's a great
AJ
question.
was there. AJ was there. And Robert Roode was there. And James Storm. Now, James Storm is kind of... He's a realtor now. He sells houses, so he's doing good. But there's a guy with a lot of talent, a lot of personality, great heel. So I think there was 3 people that I would send.
Great choices. I'm so glad you said James Storm.
Oh, yeah. Love him.
Real quick, I meant to get to this question earlier. Benjamin saying, what are your thoughts on the Liv Dom storyline? I am all for this Liv Morgan revenge tour. I am extremely excited that she is finally getting the opportunity here to be it. She is the focal point of not only the entire women's division, but she was the focal point of Monday Night Raw this week. She was the Bloodline this week, and I think she's doing a hell of a good job. My only gripe, I have no problem with the manipulation of the male members of the Bloodline. I don't know where this is actually going, whether she's going to end up with whether she's going to end up with Dom, whether she's going to end up with Finn, whatever this is going to go. But she is trying to literally take everything away from Rhea Ripley, and her boys are the last bit of that. I'm great with that. It's also crystal clear that she ain't going to defend that world championship until SummerSlam at the earliest. And that's my biggest issue is like, I'm like, okay, Lyra's right there. Like Lyra Valkyria's right there. It was set up with the sucker punch and Becky and this, that, and the other thing. It was right there. And then this week on Raw, we're getting Lyra talking about Money in the Bank is right around the corner. And I'm just like, God damn it. We ain't getting a women's world title match. She's a Joker without a Batman right now. And we don't know when Rhea Ripley's coming back, which is why I said Raw needs Charlotte Flair, but we don't know when she's coming back, and we don't know when Becky's coming back. So it is the Liv Morgan show with no rival right now.
Hey, guess what, guys? Judgment Day has been feuding with who for the past year?
Themselves.
LWO. So guess what? Guess what? Selena Vega, you get another opportunity at the title.
Let's go. I'm sure there's a New York show or something coming up here. I don't know. All right, guys. I'm from New York. I should get a title shot.
Facts.
See you next Friday, guys.